Generally speaking, sports can be very physically demanding, so an injury here and there is expected from players. And it looks like Tiger Woods hasn't been spared either. Now that his comeback to tournament golf has been postponed once again, it's sad that we can't see his magic on the grass anymore. In this video, we'll talk about the horrifying extent of Tiger Woods' injuries and how they've impacted his career, so let's begin. First up, Tiger Woods' comeback to tournament golf ended before it began. You'd have to be living under a rock to not know the legend Woods is. As an inductee into the World Golf Hall of Fame, his fluid movements and fantastic shots make him one of the most memorable players on the course. The 46-year-old professional golfer is known for being tied for first place in PGA Tour wins and ranked second overall in men's major championships. Not only that, but he's got several other golf records under his belt too. Now, for a man like Woods, who's basically been playing pro golf since he was 20, it's understandable to have some hiccups along the way. Golf might not have a lot of running involved, but considering the amount of force it takes to swing, rotor cuff injuries are pretty common among players. In fact, there's even a condition called golfer's elbow, in which there's inflammation at the inner side of the player's elbow because of the tendons being overworked due to constant movement. This results in pain radiating in one's forearm and wrists and is not just limited to golfers. Now, Tiger's had many injuries in his career, but his recent flare of plantar fasciitis has unfortunately forced him to withdraw his participation at the Hero World Challenge, but don't worry, he's still hosting the gig, so all's good. If you're curious about what plantar fasciitis is, then from our limited knowledge of medical science, it's basically inflammation of the fascia, the lining that basically holds your muscles in place. And when that gets inflamed or injured due to increased walking, then it results in great pain, making it difficult to walk. Moving on, let's talk more about the extent of his injuries. As we know, Tiger Woods is the kind of guy who just loves competing. For someone who started his professional career at a young age, it's pretty clear the man lives and breathes golf. So for someone who loves the sport so dearly, having to leave it behind, if only for a short while now, that's gotta hurt. From what the world champion has revealed so far, his recent bout of plantar fasciitis is a direct result of the damage to his leg from the car crash he suffered 2 years ago in February 2021. This sudden onset of pain started around the time Tiger started to ramp up and walk more ahead of the Hero World Challenge. And as we talked about earlier, since walking too much wears out your fascia, imagine having to do that all the time. Now, just because his foot hurts, it doesn't mean he can't hit golf balls. He can, but that too requires walking, which, as we know, is not his favorite thing to do at the moment. Nearing the end of his third decade as a professional golfer, the player recently shared that he knows he doesn't have much left in his affected leg. But still, he's going to tread carefully now and prepare for the match and the PNC Championship. After consulting his doctor and trainers, everyone agreed that Tiger should take a breath and rest. And while he won't be making his classic swings on the golf course, we'll at least get to hear his voice boom across the field, so there's still some silver lining to it. Coming up, let's briefly touch on Tiger's injury timeline. The former world number one is no stranger to injuries or spinal surgeries. After being involved in a car crash in California, the five-time Masters champion has had a pretty long recovery time following his injuries, but it's not the only wound he's nursed over time. In his lengthy PGA Tour career, Tiger's been a frequent visitor at the doctors thanks to his aggressive play. We know what you're thinking. Golf? Aggressive? Well, you forgot it's Tiger Woods that we're talking about. From stress fractures to torn ACLs, there's nothing that Tiger's not seen. His history with sports injuries dates all the way back to April 2008 when he was forced to take a 2-month layoff between a runner-up finish at the Masters and the US Open because he had to undergo arthroscopic surgery for his knee joint to repair the cartilage in his left knee. This injury was pretty unforgettable for the athlete and even induced multiple stress fractures in his leg that increased his rest time. Since then, he's had a bulging disc in his neck, a sprained medial collateral ligament and Achilles tendon, an elbow strain, a couple of back spasms, spinal surgery for a pinched nerve that turned into several follow-up surgeries because of consistent pain, and of course, the car crash that resulted in multiple leg injuries after his vehicle rolled and crashed into a ditch. So for a person who's been through so much, it's understandable that he'd want to be cautious with his movements. Rehabilitation's not easy either and requires an incredible amount of patience, which we hope Tiger has plenty of. Following up, how did fans react to Woods not being able to play? Surprisingly, the news of his sudden withdrawal from the Hero World Challenge did not come off as a shock to his fans. As we just mentioned, Tiger and his sports injuries have a long-running history, and of course there's always been rumors of his retirement up in the air for those those very reasons. While fans expressed their concerns and wished him good health, they also brought up the possibility of retirement. For someone who's gone through major spinal surgery multiple times in their life, it'd be cruel to let them play a sport when hunching your back's a part of your technique. Many people still want to see the King make his long-awaited comeback soon, but just think for a moment to yourself, is it worth risking another potential complication? And sure, we'd miss Woods like we miss Federer on the tennis court. There's nothing that's more important than health, and we wish plenty of that to our former world number one. Speaking of Tiger Woods' comeback to tournament golf, even though he won't be returning to the Hero World Challenge, he still sort of did, but not in the way you'd expect. Curious? Keep watching to know more. Up next, looks like Tiger's golf skills are getting a little rusty. And no, it's not all because of his recent frustrating bout of plantar fasciitis. Now, we know he won't be making his much-awaited return to the competition soon, but he's still made an appearance by taking part in the Hero Shot Skills competition, and boy did he shock us all. Alongside Justin Thomas, US Open champion Matt Fitzpatrick and Tommy Fleetwood, the players took turns to hit a red and white bullseye on a small floating green, 87 yards from an elevated teeing surface around the 18th hole of the course. Every player had only 6 tries to take a hit, and whoever got the closest to the pin was declared the winner after multiple rounds. Now sure, it was particularly windy that day, but when Tiger Woods was the one behind the golf club, you kind of expect magic to happen. Instead, the opposite did. While his first shot wasn't his best, his second wasn't that impressive either. It landed straight in the drink, and if you were someone who was betting on the player, then you'd have faced terrible losses. His third shot didn't find the floating surface either, and his remaining 3 also had the same fate. Last but not least, how did everyone react to Tiger's ball landing in the drink? After his iconic performance, Tiger grew kind of frustrated from not getting the ball onto the floating tee, but you best believe others had a good laugh seeing him struggle. After his 4th shot, English pro golfer Tommy Fleetwood tried to diffuse the tension in the air and joked, "Have you ever played golf before, Tiger?" Hearing that, everyone around them erupted into laughter and started to exchange banter at the expense of Tiger's poor attempts at the challenge. On his 5th attempt, when the ball missed the target again, someone yelled, "Wind switched," as everyone watched Tiger's ball airmail the green. When the time came for Woods' final shot, Justin Thomas also joined in on the fun too, and when Tiger's final shot came up short once again and missed, he asked the MC of the competition, "Mike, what's that add up to?" Thankfully, Tiger was in a good mood too and replied to his fellow pros saying, "Is that a lot or no?" Well, we don't know about it being a lot, Tiger, but we're so not forgetting this iconic performance anytime soon. And that's a wrap for this video, my friends. How do you feel about Tiger Woods' comeback being postponed due to his injuries? Do you think it's about time he retires? Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you soon.